I think at the end of the day, the basic explanation is we focus on quality, not quantity. At the end of the day, our business model is focused on giving somebody the best experience that they possibly can, but the other clinics, they're all about how many people can you get in the door, as fast as you can. So they oftentimes will use like low cost techs or aides, people with no experience or people with 2 years of experience, just to save some money.
I'm here with Dr. Jake. Obviously, he's with Flex Forward Physical Therapy. We'll get to know a little bit more about him today. So just real quick, Dr. Jake, I mean, who are you outside of like
physical therapy? Who am I outside of physical therapy? Man, that's a loaded question. I mean, I'm kind of like an outdoor enthusiast. I am a dog dad. I have a, what is he now, 5-year-old poodle mix, ball of energy. It takes a lot of work. Yeah, I have a fiance, Maria. I hope to be married soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of like one of these guys that grew up like from a small town in Wisconsin, so go Packers. But through that whole process, like I was a kind of a tri-sport athlete kind of thing, and played soccer, played basketball and track. So I was always like really interested in sports.
Did you have a favorite out of the three of those?
Soccer
for sure. Okay.
Yeah, so like when I basically my basketball season and my track seasons were always just like training for me to do soccer. And so it got to the point where, I remember like there was times where I would go to like a track meet and my travel team for soccer was like practicing right next door. And so I like would run all my races, and they had me do like 3 or 4 events or whatever. And then I'd be like, Coach, can I go? And then I'd go play soccer, Soccer was my thing. And then, like I went like all state, all conference and all that stuff. So I was like really super competitive with it. And I didn't really pick it up until like this year again. So like when I was doing all my traveling and stuff as a travel PT, I didn't, like you couldn't really join a league because you're moving around so much. So so lately I've just been kind of like really getting into soccer again, I guess I play the guitar, learning. What else about me? So yeah, but otherwise like mountain biking, running, rock climbing, all those adventure sports, paddleboarding in the summer. So those are all things that I really like.
Physical activity is like a huge part of about who you are. You got physical activity, you got your fiance, and then obviously there's some business owning in there. So are a lot of physical therapists kind of like you, where they were really physical active, you feel like, when they were young, and then they became like they wanted something to do inside of this field where they still have?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it goes half and half because like some people I know, they just like really like the sciences and they really liked biology and like that sort of thing. And a lot of us, funnily, we wanted a career that was in like the medical field, but we didn't want to like stick people with needles. And I'm one of those people actually. So, and then my story is like, that is exactly me. I did not want to be a nurse. I didn't want to stick needles in people or like draw blood or anything. I'm not afraid of it, but I just didn't want to do it. I think doing it to somebody else like scared me. Basically, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, I think for me, like, and I know a lot of us too, like we get hurt, like you play sports, I got hurt all the time. So like, I mean, I don't think there was a season where I didn't have something like in high school where I was hurt.
Was there a major injury that ever really
concussion? Like I was out for half the season. One time I stress fractured my foot, probably from doing too much. And then I was out for like the whole basketball season and half of my soccer season. And then multiple ankle stuff, so there's always something.
I feel like that's kind of why it led you down to the fixing career. Like physical therapy is like you guys fix a lot of issues.
Yeah. So I mean, like for me, I went into it because like I remember like hurting my ankle, especially like the stress fracture and the torn, tendons in my ankle when I tore them in my left foot. Like I was in therapy and like I had a therapist that was like, she was actually like an athletic training kind of major too. And she used to work for a professional sports team. And so she was doing like high level rehab with me that you would see like on these sports teams and stuff. I'm like, dang, this is cool. Like I can do this. Like I can train, it was like, I was like having fun, like being, even though I was hurt, I was kind of like training and like able to like kind of get back into like sports and stuff, which I was really passionate about. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I can do that for somebody, like be involved in them getting back to sports. Cause at that time, like it was wrecking me. Like there was a time where I was like on crutches for like 6 months in a walking boot, like because of that stress fracture. So getting back to doing what I wanted to do was like game changer.
When it keeps you like active in the sports too, because you know what the athlete needs to be able to do, right, on the field or on the court.
Right.
And so you're like, I can't just be like, well, I'm gonna just train you in the frontal plane, sagittal plane. I'm gonna actually get you back to able to do what you need to do, right, in your sport, so you can excel again.
For sure.
So, right, knowing what it is. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like you experienced it firsthand. And you think that her like knowledge or her ability in there kind of spurred you forward? Or if it had been someone else and they would have done it like lackadaisical, maybe that would have hindered?
I think along my career, there has been some physical therapists that have really just changed my trajectory and made this whole thing jump forward. Yeah, there has been like throughout my trajectory, there has been physical therapists that have really just propelled like my life and then just like my career forward. So like that lady getting me back to like, the sport at that time, that was like what jumpstarted me get into it. But then like I had a lady that I was my mentor in college because we had to do these like internships, basically 4 of them in all these different settings and stuff. And at one time this was my first internship or clinical internship. And right before I went, my roommate at the time decided he was going to he liked to wrestle me. So I have a background in martial arts. I'm a black belt, 2nd degree. And he was like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. So like we would just kind of like every once in a while, like he would show me how to do like a chokehold or something, whatever. So like one day I'm walking back from school and I had the backpack on and he was like standing behind the corner of the wall and I didn't see him. And I like walked into the living room and he came up and he like came and like, grabbed me and then like threw me back. But I hit my head on the ground. And ever since that, like all throughout college after that for like probably like 2 years, I had like neck pain that entire time. And actually like I lost function on my left hand. My hand went completely dead. It was numb, tingling. I couldn't move it. And at the time I was really rock climbing and I couldn't grab holds because I couldn't function my hand. So here I am on my first clinical now, like ever rotation. I couldn't use my hand. And like every single time we had like a lunch break or something, that clinical instructor, Megan, she would work on me or she'd show me what to do. And like that allowed me to get function in my hand back. Oh. So that's what actually led me to doing what I'm doing now, because like I wanted to do that for somebody else. Like, cause there's this whole thing in physical therapy where we have to, when someone comes in, it's our job to look at if there's any red flags or yellow flags, meaning like, do I refer this out to somebody else? Or that would be a red flag, like, hey, this is out of my scope. You got to go see a neurologist, or you got to go get an x-ray, or you got to go, whatever. Yellow flags is like, yeah, there might be something going on here. I can proceed, but I got to proceed with caution, kind of thing. So I think in the standard rule of physical therapy, when there's like issues with nerves going on, a lot of times people will just refer out right away. And it's good to have them on your side. I'm not saying like you do want to be in conjunction with the neurologist to know what's going on in a perfect world. But, like this was a case where my arm went dead, and like we have more skills than people think, because a lot of people think we just do exercise, we can like correct your form and stuff. We're just like a high level personal trainer. But in reality, like we have extensive, knowledge base of the nervous system and musculoskeletal system and everything. So we can help people in those situations where it might not seem like a physical therapist from the layman's eye could do anything, And so my mission there was to kind of try to, really evaluate someone from a full perspective so that you might not eliminate everything, but you can kind of pick away some things to.
Yeah, that sounds a lot more than just saying, oh, someone's hamstring is not firing. Yeah. It's going to get it firing, then you guys are good to go. It's actually like much more in-depth for sure than that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's another mentor just going on that rant, he John Hartenberger. He was like the guy. He was the back like guru, I want to say. I hate saying guru, but
the master Jedi.
But he was crazy cool guy, like amazing personality. He would listen to everybody the fullest. Like people would come in, and he was actually a pastor. So he had a history of being a PT, and then he went to be a pastor for a while, and then he went back to be a PT. And when he went back the second time, he like took all these courses, so he knew he was, giving the best, because he was been out of it for like 20 years. So he went back and took all these courses, so he knew what he was doing. And all of the skills that he ended up using in the clinic, and again, he was one of my mentors. That's what I was like, that's what physical therapy has to be like for everybody else. So that's like what ends up at the end of the day setting me apart from a lot of other clinics. Why people seek me out, I guess, is because other clinics, you're just another number. You're just getting cookie cutter exercises, stuff like that. But what John would do, he would use his pastor, skill set. He would just sit in the room and just be like, tell me what's going on. People would be crying. They would be telling him about like their whole life, counseling. He would just sit there and he would just like fold over and he's just, just listening. You barely say anything. And then like they would tell him the whole story, and basically then they tell him what's wrong. And that's what I've noticed is that like oftentimes the person knows what's wrong and they'll tell you, then you just listen. And then, then you use your skill set that he developed, which was osteopathic manual therapy, like hands-on skills to like help people. And that's exactly what I do now. I listen, and then like a lot of times I'll combine like the exercise stuff, but there's like a mix of chiropractic in there, like the osteopathic methods, like, the adjustments and stuff, or, legally I can't say that. Grade 5 spinal manipulation would be what I would say legally, but and then body work, and then exercise, and then again, just like all the other lifestyle stuff, listening to them. How's your sleep going? How's your nutrition? How's all that, in order to get somebody better.
Right.
Instead
of
not
just fixing the
surface, but we're like going deep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So John really helped you with that. And obviously Megan, the way she helped you fix your arm.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with any of these?
I haven't talked to John in a while, honestly. Megan, I have. Megan, I've connected with like almost every year. She's kind of, we've stayed in touch through social media and everything. And weirdly enough, she has a giant black schnauzer, and that looks exactly like my dog, except my dog's a black poodle. But like when his hair grows out, they look very similar. He gets a lot of people think he's the schnauzer. So we'll like, message back and forth and stuff like that, like her and I.
Wisconsin.
So she was in Utah.
Okay.
So my first clinical rotation was in Utah. I lived there with my aunt and uncle out there. So they live out there, or they used to live in Magna, but now they live in Salt Lake City. And so I was out there for like about a month when I did that rotation for the first one with Megan. And I don't know why this just jumped in my head, but I just remembered my final day, my last day on that job. Like we wanted to take a picture together, and she found a stray cat outside the clinic. So we took a picture with this stray cat. That was just a really random thought I just had.
I would have imagined that you guys had to do clinics like basically just anywhere in the United States,
Yeah. So basically like what they'll do is they have to place students, and the Carroll College or Carroll University where I went had 80 kids like per cohort. So like they had to place 80 kids each year or each, semester or whatever. So like sometimes it got tough if you're trying to like just do everybody around the area. So like if they knew someone had family somewhere else, like, I don't know how they knew this about me, but they knew I had an aunt and uncle out there. And so they were like, all right, you're going out there.
Did some research.
But I mean, it was really fun. It was a great experience. I love it out there. Again, the whole outdoor adventure side of me, like I absolutely loved it. And then there was a friend of mine that was from a different cohort. He weirdly enough had an aunt and uncle that also was out there, and his aunt and uncle lived like 15 minutes from my aunt and uncle. So like every weekend we'd go out and hike in the mountains. We went to the hot springs and stuff. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. It was super cool. Yeah.
So then for you, do you want people who are athletes, physically active like you? Is that your ideal person, or do you want like the Gen Pop?
Yeah. I mean, my ideal client, yeah, is like somebody that's active, somebody that wants to get back to their lifestyle, kind of like what I went through, right? Like either the youth athlete that wants to get back to their sport because that's their life, that's their love, or just somebody that's like, weekend warrior, triathlete, runner, or they just want to do the occasional obstacle course race or, whatever it is, just stay healthy. Those people that really care about their health.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't have to be active, but they, care about your health.
You've helped countless clients of the gym here, even helped them fix my shoulder and then my wife's back with all of her stuff that goes on there. Like, is there ever been someone, though, that's been like, this person, maybe they didn't think they would be this way, but they were so gratifying when you fixed them, you're like, wow, like, they came in, I didn't know if I could do it. But, like, that person, did you have an experience like that?
That's a good question. I mean, there's definitely, like, some people that come in and you're like, man, for whatever reason, I don't know if we're going to get all the way. I never want to like not be confident at all, right? Like, so I guess like if I'm not confident at all, that would be in my field, like a scenario where I would prefer out. But like, there is one that comes to mind. I'm just like, honestly, like, I feel like everybody that comes in, I feel like that. I get excited about everybody because they always have like something, right? It's like you start with something, like somebody comes in and, like I'll get on the topic of the one that I'm thinking of, but like, right now I have somebody that I'm working with their knee. They had like a revision done on their knee. They had knee surgery done before. The first one, so she had both knees done. The first one that she had done with me. She really liked the result. The one that she did with somebody else, it didn't turn out. She didn't get all the knee bending she wanted. And then she called me up, recently and was like, Jake, I don't care what it costs. Like, she ended up being able to go through the insurance, but she's like, I don't care what it costs. I need to come see you because you came and you worked with me for the first one and it turned out perfect. The second one, I had to go back for a surgery and get like a revision and then get it better. So like in her head, she comes in and she's just like, I need my knee range of motion to be better. So like her goal is that. And so like we're working on that, I'm excited. Like, all right, each time we're going to hit this goal, But then like now it's like we've got new goals. So I'm getting excited about her like, all right, well, we're going to get you back to sitting on the floor because that was your end goal, like farther along goal, like get back to yoga, do other fitness stuff. So it like evolves over time. So I feel like every single client, there's always something where it's like, yeah, maybe like this is going to be hard, but like then it just starts snowballing and you get excited about.
And they start to notice they're getting their life back in a sense of like being able to do the things they actually enjoy. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, this is why I do it. Yeah.
No.
Do you ever keep track of how many surgeries you probably have kept away from people?
Oh, no.
Like that would be a tally, wouldn't
it? That's a hard statistic.
Someone walks in, well, they said I need surgery, and you're like, after 10 sessions, you're like, well, no surgery needed.
No, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, and I mean, like, I just took pride in getting people faster results. Like, so generally, like a regular standard clinic, it's going to take you like 12 to 14 visits, sometimes even more, to just get like a baseline stronger or like just get like back to like a little bit, like take the edge off the pain and maybe start getting active again. But I take pride in trying to like, no guarantees, but get you better in 10 visits or less. Like, that's in my mind. Like, how can I get this guy back to doing what they want to do in 10 visits or less, fast as possible, and like not just again going through the motions and getting somebody back to the baseline, but let's go.
Don't just slap a Band-Aid on it. Fix the actual problem.
Yeah. And then I had one other thing that I just wanted to say. So thinking about this client that I was like, this isn't going to work. She was a 16-year-old girl in a wheelchair, and they called me up and they said like that. They went through Shirley Ryan, like the neuroability lab and everything. And like, she did all this therapy, like 6 months of therapy, all this stuff to try to get her walking again. And cause she's in a wheelchair and she had she was paralyzed basically from kind of like mid thoracic region down. So T10, down. And, they tried all this therapy and it like wasn't really working. And then she came in to me and they were like, hey, can you help her walk again? Can you help her do stairs? I, like at my office, I like raised and lowered the table so that she could try to stand. And it was pretty scary, honestly, because the first time we tried, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is going to work, you know? And again, this is one of those where, you know, normally would you refer out, but like she's tried all this other stuff. And I'm like, maybe we can try something different than what she did at Shirley Ryan. And Shirley Ryan's like a research lab-based PT. This clinic should be the highest of the high, right? So I was like, okay, well, let's see. So long story short, within 2 visits, she was walking, she was doing stairs, she was doing all this stuff. I mean, it was unbelievable. I just couldn't imagine it. So like I have a background in like neuro. I've always been fascinated with like neuro, like even when we were in school, I debated like, oh, I'm going to do a residency in neuro, like a neuro residency, but I never did it. But yeah, like we just did some like basic neuro techniques on her, and like I was able to increase her strength, and like she was able to do all this. I mean, she had to use braces, but she was able to do all this stuff that she couldn't do after 6 months of PT, and she literally did it in 1 session. It was just like unbelievable. And you know, it kind of just shows you like what people are capable of. And like it just honestly felt like a miracle. It was like, wow, this has been here the whole time. Like, are people not like doing the right thing, and that's why you're not getting results? Or like, you know, did I just do it differently? Or, you know, I don't know. But
they're skipping a step somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they're probably taking it out to like those Brazilian steakhouses after that. They're being like, oh my gosh, well, thank you, Jake.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake, so much.
I know. And then again, it came from, we're just going to try this, to let's just keep doing it to, you know, get stronger and then move on to the next goal and the next goal.
So then how are you different from these other places that would do it? What's your main, this is how I do it, this is my differentiator?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the basic explanation is we focus on quality, not quantity. At the end of the day, our business model is focused on giving somebody the best experience that they possibly can, which will then evolve into all this other stuff. But the other clinics, they're all about how many people can you get in the door, you know, as fast as you can, which ends up being a factory. So they oftentimes will use like low cost techs or aides, people with no experience or people with 2 years of experience, just to save some money so that they can basically have their doctor of physical therapy see somebody for 15 minutes and then spend the rest of the time with somebody with like basically no education, so that they can just keep cycling the PT. So like the person will stay with the person with no experience, and then the PT will just hop between all the other visits to get as much money as they possibly can. So it's a factory, and they're operating as a factory. I'm trying to operate it as like, you know, maybe not something that would make as much money as something like that, but on my conscience, I like value helping people. And that's where my differentiator is, you know, at the core of it all, where I'm here to help people. And that's what the business is versus making a buck.
Yeah, I remember coming to you and doing like the total body diagnostic even, and I was like, hey, this hurts. And you're like, okay, cool, we're gonna get to that, but we're gonna do, I wanna look at the whole picture here.
Yeah.
Right? And then like, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this was an issue. And you're like, Nate, this is an issue as well. And then like, this is what's causing, right, the pain. And
for sure.
I was going through all of that, and I was like, okay, that's an eye-opening experience for me. I've never experienced that in any PT session ever. Yeah. Right? And I've had my share of like knee injuries and things as well. Like they just refer you out to like the doctor's like, hey, just go to this local doctor PT, and then it doesn't ever get better.
I mean, you could talk for hours and hours and hours about how our healthcare system is broken, but essentially other ways we're different is that, you know, I started off with the mindset of a cash clinician. So like that does allow me to see the entire body as a whole. And the reason for that is like, you know, most people that don't know about all the rules of physical therapy or medical, there's just so many rules. Like you can do this, but you can't do that. And you can call it this, you can't. At the end of the day, the normal system is everybody takes all the insurances and they, you know, but when you take insurances, then what happens is you are basically, you know, given a referral from a physician, and then you're stuck to that body part. In order to bill that through your insurance, you got to stick with, if you came in with a shoulder diagnosis, I'm working on your shoulder. Versus like if you're a cash person and you're not going through the insurance, or you're going out of network with insurance, then you can kind of treat it more like body work, where it's like, I can work on whatever is going on at that time, like we can kind of move around and work on the neck this time or work on the shoulder. And it really allows for high performance PT. So it's really perfect for those that like maybe aren't as bad as like, needing your insurance, but it's great for those that like want to stay on the bike or want to keep running or want to stay in the gym or want to keep coaching or whatever it is. Like they're still able to function, but they want like to feel better, Because again, there's this whole rule about with insurance, you need to be medically necessary in order to bill the insurance. So sometimes if someone just says, I have an ache or pain, that medically necessary? Then they technically can't go through insurance.
So the average person, I assume then, just thinks of you as an average, like what's the difference? Like he's PT, right? Jake's PT, yeah. He's a physical therapist. What are they misunderstanding from you as a physical therapist? And then what is the misunderstanding about running a business as a physical therapist? What do people misunderstand about you?
I think the first misunderstanding is just like people will lump you in with every other physical therapist or every other chiropractor, meaning, A, it's too expensive, it's, not going to do anything. It's just exercise only, it only works when you're there.
Right.
It will go away. It'll come back when you stop. So those are usually the barriers of what people like think when they think of physical therapy. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, it doesn't work for me. Or I've done it in the past and I've had this pretty crappy experience. It's going to be the exact same, because all of these other places are kind of doing the exact same thing, And so they expect this high volume clinic where you're just pumping out numbers and you really don't see somebody. And then what was your follow-up question?
So like the misunderstanding to like for actually running a business like this.
Oh, running a business?
What's the misunderstanding that people probably have of running a business as a physical therapist?
I mean, like people probably think they're making huge bucks and you're just rolling in it because you're a doctor. Right. Yeah, but that's not true. Not true at all. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure what people think about like running a PT clinic, what they think about it. I think, but I mean, like that's where my head goes is people probably just assimilate you with, maybe you're making a lot of money. Maybe this person has an ego. I don't know. But I personally don't feel like that, but I'm 100%.
It's tough because you're balancing business owning with like physical therapy, right? Because you're making a lot of those business decisions. Seeing a CPA, right? You're talking about your accounting. There's the potential for salaries, things. There's overhead costs. There's expenses. There's the day-to-day activities that have to be taken care of as well, and that's all fine and dandy. You're not just some employee at a clinic. You're like, I have to focus 100% on you while also making sure this business is profitable.
I guess, they don't understand that. Like, the whole scope of it. And even sometimes it's like, we do like more over the top exercise programs for people, like actual programming, like you do this exercise. Like we'll write either fitness programs or rehab programs for people, which is completely different than what you go somewhere else. Because somewhere else you'll just get a sheet of exercises on a printout. Versus like this one's like legit programming that we keep up to date and we like, modify it as you go along and everything. We can like comment or connect with people, like message them and figure out what we need to change. And all the videos are like custom for that person, or they're like filmed of me usually like doing something. And it takes a lot of work. And I think like some people are like, oh, well, why didn't you get that to me like in an hour? It's like, because I'm doing everything else, I think that's the misunderstanding too, is they don't understand what you're all doing.
How many PTs do you think out of 10, like yourself, are hands-on? Is it even 1 out of 10, you say?
It depends on what you mean.
So like when you're hands-on, like you're doing the tissue work, you're doing that stuff.
Because I think there's like, I actually watched a video about this yesterday. There's like all of these like camps that PTs will go into. So there's like a camp where it's like, and this camp is very popular with people that are going to school, like new grads. And it's like, the research shows that manual therapy is not effective, basically. So like the only thing based on research or evidence-based is that you should do exercise to get better. You shouldn't do hands-on work. Or if you do, you have to do it in combination. So there's like people that were like, they literally don't do any manual therapy because they just do exercise because evidence shows that it's better that way, you know? But then there's people that, you know, maybe do hands-on manual therapy or whatever. But I think this question is loaded and it shouldn't be, at least for me, you know, at least for me, it's loaded because you'll go to like other clinics and maybe like they're just like literally just doing like a massage. Like they're literally just doing like basic massage techniques, like no special skills there. It's literally just like, oh, it hurts in your knee. I'm just going to rub your knee, you know, and you just get a knee rub. You just get a knee rub for 5 minutes, you know, whereas like you could be really skilled about it. And then like there's people that like will literally do like body work. They use like cupping, scraping. They use maybe trigger point release, active ART, active release technique, PNF. So I'm doing all these other techniques versus like just rubbing.
Actual skill versus just
touching
so pointlessly.
Like, there's a lot of PTs, you know, like so out of your 0 to 10 number, I mean like probably like 8 or 9 out of 10 are doing hands-on work. However, they're not like doing it at the same skill level. Maybe they don't have the same intuition, or they're not doing it like in the concept of like where I do it more as like body work. So like that's why I do the whole cash thing sometimes if it's applicable to that client, because I'm able to kind of like do only that and not like
it almost like dirties up what you're doing, right? Because you're like, I do body work. Like, yeah, that's the last place. Like, no. Yeah. No, you didn't. It's like they touched you. No, they didn't do what I'm going to do. I'm not actually what I'm going to do, right? So it's like dirtying up kind of like what it is you do, because like they're saying, oh yeah, I did that there. And you're like, no, you didn't actually do. Like one session with me and you'll see why I'm different. Yeah. Right? So that's pretty cool. So like let's just transfer a little bit into like more like the business owning aspects opposed from the physical therapy. So how has owning a business changed you over the course of your life, especially as a man?
How did owning my business change me over time, especially as a man? I think, I mean, for one, you have a greater understanding of all of the other people that own businesses, especially private businesses. You just like, I have a great respect for everybody that like does that. And, you know, like I grew up like marketing like a little bit, like just getting to know, like as I was a PT, I was just kind of like working with some of the clinics that I was like shadowing at and stuff. But I guess I didn't realize like the whole, how much networking there really is. And I think it's really cool because like you really get to know a lot of these people. And so I think it changed me in the way of, I was more of an introverted person.
Okay.
You don't see that with me. But like, I'm very introverted. I like to do stuff on my own for the most part. Like a lot of the sports I do and stuff are generally like on my own, like mountain biking, rock climbing, a lot of lone sports. But like I think through owning a business and having to get out there and market and talk to people and like having conversations with people and getting to know them, it started to get me to be a little more extroverted.
Forced you out of that comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Moved you forward.
100%. 100%. Yeah. And, you know, we didn't even talk about why I am in business. So I talked about like wanting to make a change, wanting to like help people, wanting to make physical therapy better. But the whole reason this all started, honestly, like to get down to the, you know, the whole thing is PT school is expensive. And I didn't have any help from my parents. And, honestly, there were some money decisions made along the way that I like went to my parents for advice on some of this stuff. And maybe I didn't get the best advice. And so we took out a lot of loans and things, you know, ended up walking out of school with a lot of money in debt. A lot. Double what you make and then some.
Did you know going into school you were going to be a physical therapist? Or did you have to change?
So I knew going into school I was going to be a physical therapist. When I was like going to look things up, you know, you go through, I don't know if it's like not the Better Business Bureau, but you can like look up the statistics and it's like, oh, you're going to make $150,000 a year, blah, 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 working for somebody else. Right out of school, man. But then like in 2020 and everything, and like I said, like there's all this stuff going on with like our healthcare system and how it's bad, but basically what happened is the governing board for the Physical Therapy Association didn't really stand up for us, like physical therapists. And so then they started losing reimbursement for insurance. So then these people that were generally like with a 4-year degree making $100,000 plus easy in like an outpatient clinic. Now you're looking at 60 grand.
Oh.
So like people are going to school, not for 4, but now people are going to school with it for a doctorate. They're thinking like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor of physical therapy. Everything's going to be great. But then you don't realize that you're actually going to make 60 to 70 grand getting out of school with 7 years of schooling. So it like doesn't add up at all. There's
with all
like
loans.
the amount of what you're getting out of it is not what you're putting in. So anyway, my loan payment, like graduating school, was very high. And there was a lot of times where it's like, shit, I can't really pay the bills, And so I had to try to make things work. I did travel physical therapy for a while. I did home health for a while, all because those are like higher paying careers for physical therapists. But none of them ever fulfilled me. Travel was cool because you are traveling around, but it's just hard. It's hard living out of your car. And if you want to like have kids in a life, you just can't do it. And then home health, it's good paying. The flexibility of it is good, but like you're just always dealing with people that don't want to make a change. They don't want to like live a better life. They're just kind of like pain, and they're just kind of, unfortunately, kind of complaining about it a lot. And you're just doing the same old thing all the time. And everything was just too basic for me. So then I was like, I need to make, basically, I was struggling to pay the bills. And it's like, I have to do something where I can pay the bills. So I
work with your ideal client, probably too.
And work with my ideal client. So then it was like, okay, well, I'm going to take all these business courses and get a mentor and get somebody that is also doing this and join like a mentorship group. And I just had to make it work. And so I was willing to like, hustle and bustle. So how did it change my life? For the better. It brought me out of my shell, and it like got me to learn how to work hard. And, you can kind of be an entrepreneur and get what you want, but you got to kind of work for it. I think anything's possible, but you just got to put in the work and get uncomfortable.
Skating by is the best way to fail, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but then I think like, also too now that I'm like a year and some change in business, I think it's realizing like that if you really want things to grow, like you got to have a team, like I had my biggest growth as soon as I started bringing on like a virtual assistant, because I was just doing everything. I was doing absolutely everything. I was wrecking myself. I wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating. And this is coming from a guy that like, you asked me, what do I like to do? That's my identity.
Right.
And so I wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating. Like, honestly, right now, this is probably the most out of shape I've been, which is hard for me. Because I've had like a 6-pack since like 9 years old.
Born with it, came out of your mom's womb, man. 6-pack. Made doing laundry real easy.
But, but like, just realizing that like you got to share the load, and, you got to share the load so you can be there for your family too.
Well, speaking of family, how do you show up at home while also being a business owner?
It's hard. Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's why delegation is huge, and like having a team. And so you can be present at home, because like for the last, year when I was kind of hustling, bustling, trying to get this to work, a lot of stuff got sacrificed. And, it was hard on relationships that, hard on my relationship with Maria, is just in general, it just kind of, you start taking shortcuts, and then the patterns just keep adding up, and then you just keep doing that because now it's a habit to do that stuff.
Has there been a pro to the life side from owning the business though?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you a lot of negatives. Yeah, no, I think flexibility is huge. So like, the ability to just kind of manage my own schedule, and whether it's handling stuff for Maria or handling stuff for like our pets and different things, or even my life, like just having greater flexibility, and not always just, for me, not doing one thing, because I got really bored doing one thing.
Do you like wearing all the hats? Or do you prefer the therapy hat, you think?
I think I like having a lot of hats, but then like there's a lot of times where it's uncontrolled.
Right.
So then like I don't like it when it's uncontrolled, and you're just like, oh my gosh, how do I get to
right now?
Yeah.
Like there's a big giant fire, right? And you have to put it out once.
Yeah, but But yeah, I like doing a lot of different things and dabbling in it, learning from marketing to selling to, this, and then having the skill set of PT. Like there's just so many aspects to it. And I think that's what kind of got me excited with owning a business, is like you're learning your skills in so many different ways, like aspects.
Yeah, it's exciting to learn all these things new. What would you say was the hardest thing to overcome when you started your own business?
I mean, still probably
way harder than you expected. Like, why can't I not maintain this? Or why can I not do this? You think it's your actual physical health?
Yeah.
It's just a shock that fell to the wayside.
So I think what I was going to say is like maybe a skill set. Like, I didn't know if you're asking a skill set, but I think like selling was the hardest for me.
Because you go to school you can go for school business, you can go to school for physical therapy. No one tells you have to actually sell your product or service.
And like a lot of times they'll make it seem like it's grimy. And I just felt like I didn't want to be like that. But then when you realize like, oh, you're actually helping people and you're helping them transition, it's more about education than it is selling somebody.
I'm not a used car salesman, right? I'm actually helping.
Right. But I think you're 100% right. Like, I think one of the hardest things was delegating and then taking care of myself.
It's funny, we live in the health and fitness kind of world as owners, and yet even sometimes our own health can be what falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
So it can be shocking. People look at us sometimes and go, wow, how do you guys let that happen? And we're so busy running a business. Sometimes we forget.
It's a newer business. Yeah, it's a newer business. And I think like, I'm literally just, again, going back to like, I need this to work. So I'm like willing to just sacrifice literally everything to try to get this to work so that I can like pay the bills, live the life that I want to, like I'm 31. I'm 31 years old. I haven't gotten married because like of a whole financial, thing, and me being busy with the business and different stuff. And then also, like we haven't had kids for a similar reason because like, like Maria's a PT and she has a lot of debt, and then I had more debt, like double hers. So, like putting it all together, like you just don't make enough to basically make it work. Like you don't feel comfortable doing that. So it's like, I have to make more to do this.
Right. It's like I always need more for the next step of my life. Right. It's like I talked about with you before. It's like, don't worry though. You'll always be telling yourself you need more money when it comes to having kids.
I know.
It's like, I don't make enough money for children. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So does it feel lonely though? Sometimes you mentioned like, making all those decisions, doing all those things. Like, I know you have Maria and there's other people now in your life, but like, those sometimes gotta make tough decisions. And like, you're like, I am the only one here.
Yeah.
Like, talk to me about that.
I mean, I think, and when we were talking about that, like I kind of told you, and I'll tell you now too, like you have been part of the reason why my business has moved along. You were the reason that I got started, like, and went full time. Because there was a time where I was part-time and I was like, should I do this? And you were like, do it, man. So then like I did it. And then, now like we had a meeting and like, should I hire? And you're like, you didn't tell me do it, but like, you kind of like talked me through it. And so like, you've been a good mentor to me in that. And, people in my business group that I've been a part of, my networking group, like there. And then also like my physical therapy group that I'm a part of, So like, you just have to find your close people that are willing to, help you. And I think like people that you trust like matters. And like, that's why it works out for us, because like I trust you. I know your business does really well and you're doing multiple, like you have all this experience doing multiple different things. And I'm able to ask you and you're going to tell me a like realistic answer instead of like what I want to hear,
Yeah. Has there been anything, because like there's always like hindsight is always 20/20, that saying, right? Looking back now, it's been a fun year and a half since you finally just, as I said, like you just got off the pot and you went full bore into like just owning your own business. Is there anything in there like where you wish you would have bought speed, like or known something? Because like in Brotherhood we talk about buying speed, moving things faster from one spot to the next, whether it's getting more clients or doing this or that. What do you think you wish you would have known?
I think it's not. So for me, I get very bogged down with stuff. Like I'm very ADD. So I'm like jumping between all this stuff. And so I think like I'm a part of some of these groups, right? And I think like, so I technically am buying speed with some of these programs. What ends up happening is like, I don't actually get the close accountability with it. So like, even though I'm a part of this group, like I don't really like know my coach that well, and like, And, maybe it's hard for me to get on a call with this guy, And so there's a lot of times where in this other program, it's,
are you allowed to go no holds barred? Do you feel like it's a place you can actually go no holds barred? Like basically it just means like there's no restrictions. You don't have to hold back.
Right.
That's
what I'm saying. No. Okay. So, but like, whereas like with you and stuff, I feel like I'm able to talk to you and kind of you're able to give me the speed quickly because like there is no hold back. Whereas like with these other groups, like I think like I'm doing all these things where I'm getting the knowledge which should give me speed, but in reality I'm not completing the task because there's no accountability. You know what I mean? So I'm lacking the accountability piece. I've got a lot of knowledge from different things and like, I have the resources. Like I told you, I'm in this group and that group and whatever. Like, so I can pull from that, but like being stretched out in different directions, I don't actually have the accountability to say like, Jake, do this now.
You bring up a great point because like how many male business owners like or even business owners in general do you think like are not self-motivated or self-driven? At some point they are.
Yeah.
Right? But you made up a great point.
Depending
on
the circumstances.
Right? Yeah. But like we have to do these things, right? Because like they will like it's not like at the end of the day, I clock out at for example, you don't clock out at 5:00 and those tasks just disappear.
Right.
They're still there. And then you're like, I have to do those first thing in the morning. And then something else just slams on your time. You're like, start it so I get those tasks done. Yeah. Right? And so for you, you're like, where's the accountability to make sure that everything gets done that needs to get done? Because, like, truthfully, I don't want to make that phone call or whatever it is. You're like, I'm going to put it off.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, no one's there to say, hey, did that get done?
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Because that's exactly where I'm at. Like, I know I need to, like, do certain things, like call this doctor, do this, do that, And it's like, that's exactly what happens is, like, I need a gentle reminder from someone like you, at some point to be like, hey, you got to do that to get the lever moving.
So, like, accountability, I think, is missing out of a huge portion of everyone's life. Because as business owners, most of them go by themselves, right? Very few people have partners. Partners are supposed to be accountability to each other. But what do you hope people would say, like, something positive about you? Like, Jake, that dude and his business, like, this is what he knows. So he's got this down. What do you think is a big compliment people would say about you as a business owner? He's really good at this. Or you would hope.
I don't know.
Maybe in the future they would hope this about you, right? You hope because granted you are still infant stage when it comes to owning a business. A year and a half year old is a baby, right? Yeah. Technically. What would you hope people say about you?
I guess what I've noticed recently is that people will say I have good systems, which is interesting because I am kind of ADD all over the place. But I feel like I've skipped some steps sometimes where, maybe there's some baseline foundational stuff I should do from a business perspective that I need reminders for. But like all the other stuff that I really like to do is like creating systems and funnels and different stuff like automation. So like in terms of following up with people, like I do that.
Who taught you the importance of systems? Is it like some other physical therapists? Because a lot of people, like especially in business when they first start out, they do things. A business owner will do something. And very, very rarely will they systemize it right away. The fact that you've already systemized it is pretty spectacular because like you're the one who does it. You do it, you do it. So why does it have to be systemized? I'm the one doing it. But the moment you systemize it, you're like, well, anyone can do this now. It doesn't have to be just me.
Yeah, I think it's from a pure perspective of like, so I did get this from like a business physical therapist group, essentially, but it was like, if I systemize this thing, if I use AI, if I use automations, if I, have all these systems in place, then I can continue to do the work by myself without hiring.
It makes life so much easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can do more basically. So then I can like treat people, but then like the business is still running in the back end.
You ever heard the phrase, there's freedom in discipline?
No.
Sounds weird, right?
Freedom in discipline?
In discipline. Like you created this type of discipline, now it actually creates a freedom because you're not like, there's not that in brain, that fire, like, is this done? Is it done? Well, you have that system in place that creates that level of freedom because of the discipline you put in place for it, right?
Makes sense. Cool.
Yeah. If you stepped away tomorrow, though, what would you want people to say, or what would you want to still exist from your business?
I mean, I still want it to be like care focused. Like, at the end of the day, the business is about giving the best patient experience. It's
every time they walked in, they felt like a VIP.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like that's exactly how I want to feel. Like I want everybody to be like greeted with a handshake or a hug or a smile and like honestly care about people's milestones. Like you're not another number, whether it's, like, little things of appreciation, giving people gift cards, giving them hugs, giving them, high fives, fist bumps, whatever it is, like getting somebody to feel and also notice, because a lot of people don't like really in physical therapy, like you could be like, so how you doing? And they're like, and like, I don't know, like I'm doing okay, like I feel a little better, and then like once you start asking them like a specific question, like what percentage do you feel better? They're like, oh yeah, I guess I feel like 80% better. It's like when you can like have somebody put a number on it, they actually will like see how they're feeling. But yeah, what I want to be known for is the quality, the care, the follow-ups, that's why all the systems are important to me. Like making sure that the patient or the client is happy throughout that entire process.
Almost like experience. The
patient
experience that they
better.
got with Flex Forward.
Yeah.
Like stands alone.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, because like, there's all these other chains out there, and maybe you get it too. You get the emails. It's like, I am willing to buy your business. Like, we are looking for physical therapists that want to sell their business, this sort
You're
of
like,
thing.
no, I want
and so I've thought about it. It's like, like what is different about this? Like, what do I want to be different? And that's it. Like, I want just everybody to enjoy their time there and not feel like it's a waste.
And no matter who you hire on staff-wise, that experience will be like that'll be front and center.
Yeah.
That's what we deliver.
That's
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Dr. Jake,
is that it?
Pleasure.
Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Brotherhood is more than business. It's about leading from the front, leveling up in every domain, and becoming the CEO of your own life. Step up, execute, and we'll see you in the next one.